Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Movie in a Hunt. I'm RJ,
And I'm Paige.
and today we're going to be talking about 2003's Texas Chainsaw Massacre that was produced by Michael Bay.
Yes, it was.
There was that brief time where he's like, I want to have a production company that only remakes horror movies. Let's roll with that. But before we get into the movie, let's talk about the trailer, which I don't have a lot of bad to say about. I actually liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Mainly because they didn't give anything away. It takes place with these kids, the Scooby Gang, as I call them. Nothing really happens, and then you get flashes here and there. And then at the end, they finally show a very brief flash of Leatherface, and you're like, oh shit, it's a Texas Chainsaw. So
I was gonna say this movie does a good job of not the trailer does a good job not letting you know it's a Texas Chainsaw trailer until it's like that. It's the time to tell you like, oh, it's Texas Chainsaw. Best I can put it is the moments that were good were actually really good. Like the really fast cuts in the trailer, the flashbulb. I enjoyed it. I think the trailer, the ending sucked because it brought in the two stupidest characters into the trailer.
I think because you had to show that it wasn't just Leatherface and there is some sort of family. I mean, that's kind of what it's about.
I guess so,
Yeah.
but still, I don't like it.
I think that's our general feeling about that part of the movie, but we'll get into it.
I mean, which one's dumber, the baby or Jedediah?
That's fair. Yeah.
But that's all I have for this. I actually do have a fun fact for you. Would you believe that the stoner friend is like one of the more famous people in this movie?
Jonathan Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely know him.
I think he was in Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, the new one? Yes, he was. But
Yeah.
I know him way back in the day from a show called The Donnellys that was canceled on NBC. It was like 2007, 8. It was a good show. But I didn't recognize him with the glasses and the shaggy hair. He was super cute, though.
Same.
Yeah.
There was him. There was the guy from... You know him from 24. I know him from Haven.
My mom pointed him out, and I was like, oh, he's from 24. She's like, oh, that's probably how I know him.
And Jessica Biel.
Obviously, Jessica Biel.
And the girl from Lucifer.
Yes.
Who was like in it for like a minute.
Yes, she's the hitchhiker. I was like, she looks really familiar, and then I looked her up. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah.
I think the only person that really didn't go far in the cast was Pepper. She still does movies, but she doesn't have like the career resume that the other members really have.
Yeah.
Which is odd because I actually thought she was one of the better people of the movie.
And also the drill sergeant from Full Metal, obviously.
Oh, but his career was they basically had to bank that movie on him.
Oh no, for sure. But I just wanted to give him a shout out, for sure.
He has my favorite line in the movie.
Oh.
He just I don't know why. I just broke out laughing when it happened, and I had to stop the movie because I was laughing too hard.
What was it?
It's just he's at the van, and I'm just watching. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of spooky and shit. And he just he just inhales and just goes, I smell bullshit. And I broke down laughing so hard because I wasn't expecting the line to come out, and I was like, that probably had to be the funniest point of this movie. But I guess I'll save the rest of my reactions for the movie.
Sounds good.
All right, ready?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do it. All right. On August 18th, 1973, 5 young adults, Erin, her boyfriend Kemper, and their friends Morgan, Andy, and Pepper are on their way to a Leonard Skinner concert after traveling to Mexico to purchase the weed. Okay, here's the thing. Pepper's not part of the friend groups. Pepper came across as she was just a hitchhiker they met.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because she said to, it's either Morgan or Andy. I forgot who has the blonde hair. I think it's Morgan.
Andy.
Okay. Well, she says to one of them, I can't believe I didn't know you yesterday.
Oh, got you. Okay.
So that makes me think she was picked up. Also, we skip probably, which I understand, it skips the beginning of the movie where you get the kind of like introduction and you get the kind of the plot device in the sense in the recording, the police recording, and you get to see like what happens later on. So it's like nails in the wall, hair, which it was it Erin's? It was Erin's hair that got caught when she got
I think it
thrown down the stairs.
Yeah.
And that's how it begins.
The camera flashes too are the exact same sounds as the one from the original movie, which I thought was really good.
Oh, because those are flash bulbs.
But
those
I mean,
flash bulb sounds.
It sounds the same. They could have used, camera sounds from today or at least 2003, and then just passed it off.
Well, it was 1973, quote unquote.
No, it was not. No, it was not. Not one point in that film did I believe it was 1973.
They were like, we're playing Leonard Skinner. It's 1973, guys. Just trust us, okay? Trust us. I will say I like Erin more than I like Sally. From like the beginning, I like Erin way more.
Same.
Kemper is... He's a weird character because he's shitty but not shitty also.
It's like he's shitty around his friends. And then he's like, oh, baby, I love you. And I'm like, get out of here.
But at the end of the day, if it comes between the friends or her, he always will pick her.
Right. I mean, obvious reasons. Spoiler alert, he wanted to propose to her.
Propose. Yeah. I do think they had a cute little thing where it's like, you love me this much? Love me this much. I was like, it's cute in the sense of, okay, I believe you two are actually into each other.
Yeah.
Erin's reaction to them like smuggling weed past the border.
The 2 pounds of weed in a piñata.
Yep.
I mean, I completely understand. She was kept in the dark about this the whole time. She's like, we just fucking smuggled drugs across the border. So I get it.
Also, I just want to put out here, Jessica Biel, no one has a costume change in this movie. Everyone's in their same costume. Yes. Jessica Biel is built.
She is
like
built
a truck.
Yo, okay. Later in the film, I'll probably point it out.
Is it when she goes? It's when she goes to the what's his name, right? The meat factory, and it's like that behind shot, and it's just like boom.
No, it was at the end with the truck, and like she's in the rain, and then she turns around, and you like see her shoulders and stuff, and she's like tone, and I'm like, holy shit, she is beast. She is a beast, but in like an awesome way.
Yeah, I mean, I have some things where like Leatherface attacks her later on. He's like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give you a wet T-shirt sprinkler system. And I'm like, wow, that's really getting back at her. This is totally not the director being horny at all.
I mean, hey, it was produced by Michael Bay, so.
And he makes movies for teenage children. That is his line specifically, not mine. While driving through Texas, the group picks up a distraught and severely traumatized hitchhiker they see walking in the middle of the road.
That's one way to put it.
She has seen shit.
This introduces Lauren from Lucifer. I thought...
For like the 2 minutes she's on screen.
I thought she did a great job. And I also like that little bit, like the boys were like, oh, don't go out there, you know, leave her alone or whatever. And the girls were like, no, we need to check on her. She's obviously not well.
She's obviously just been attacked, probably.
Yeah. And I do like the twist that the hitchhiker isn't the villain, she's the victim this time around.
And also, I feel so bad for her because it's like, the only thing she says is, I want to go home. Yeah. That's all she says. And it's like, oh, God, you've been through shit.
And she's probably just...
Like, you got out, you're like, I just want to go home.
And she's probably so tired. So mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted from what she just went through.
And also, if I remember correctly, the baby arc, that's her baby.
That's what I got. That's what I understood.
She was in the picture.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. I don't...
So that means they had her for a while.
Yeah.
Or they took the baby and then tried to kill her, but she got away. After they try to talk with the hitchhiker, who speaks incoherently about a bad man, she pulls a loaded revolver from between her legs and shoots herself in the mouth. Also known as the best shot of this movie is right here.
This happens in less than 10 minutes of the start of the film.
The first 10 minutes, this movie peaks after the 10-minute mark.
Yeah. It was good. It was really, really good. Extremely graphic. So I don't know if people have a problem with that, but it was real oof. But it looked really good for what they were going for.
The camera shot through the mouth.
Yeah. I was impressed.
It was a good reaction shot because like you see everyone losing their shit, and then it goes through her mouth and through the glass, and then around the car, and then everyone runs out.
It was a great.
It was well directed.
It was a great. Yes, absolutely.
And then we get probably the most realistic reaction to that happening is people running out. I think it's like Pepper screaming, "Let me out!" And it's like,
and she just
everyone's in shock. They can't open the door because it's like,
so
just blew the brains in front of us.
Yeah.
And then she got like brain matter on her.
I think. Her shoulder, and she's screaming, and she obviously I was like, the minute it happened, I'm like, oh, someone has to puke because this is disgusting. And then Pepper like vomits all over the place. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's realistic.
If I had to describe Pepper in this movie, it's Pepper throws up.
Yeah.
Because that's all she does in this movie. She just constantly vomits.
But I'm like, you know what? Realistic reaction.
I get it.
It's a bit over the top, but hey, who am I to tell you how to react in these situations?
And then Erin is like, Erin is distraught.
But
her and Pepper are probably the only two that are giving a reaction that's in concern for the dead body, not for the weed that's in the car.
Correct. And I get that Erin's reaction was the way it was, but I feel like it was more stoic because she's our heroine of the film. So she had to be kind of put together, Yeah.
They decide, they're like, what are we going to do? So I forgot who recommends they have to go to the sheriff. Is it Erin?
Yeah, I think so.
And they're like, we have weed in the car. So then Kemper just throws it into the field.
He eats it into the field. And then Morgan's like, dude, you can't just do that. So.
Dead body.
Weed.
Yeah. And then Pepper just goes, I'm telling you one thing, I'm not getting back in that car. And we smash cut to them just driving.
And when that happens, I think one of the best parts happens is Pepper is spraying the mist.
It's this perfume. It's like,
it was great. I was like, you know what?
Stinks.
Yep.
And then is this where the body falls over and they freak out, or was that the next?
I think that's
time
the next
in the car.
time in the car.
Okay. It's just the three people in the back are sitting there just staring at it, just like, please don't let it fall on me. Please don't let it fall on me. I don't need it to fall on me.
And then just think about it. It's got to be in the mid to high 90-degree weather, and you have this body.
And the air's not working in the car.
Obviously. And it's just rotting in the car while you're driving.
It's so gross. The group goes to a nearby diner to contact the police, where a woman named Luda May.
That's her name. I just called her Grandma.
Luda. I'm gonna call. That's it for the rest of the thing. She says Luda. Tells them to meet Sheriff Hoyt at the mill. Instead, they find a young boy named Jedediah, who tells them Hoyt is at home getting drunk.
I do have to say, when they're doing the phone call in the quote-unquote diner, there's lighting that's put on the Grandma Luda's eyes that is really, really good. It's immediately, you're not safe with this character, and you're supposed to feel unease with her. So I thought that was very well done.
I think on the way to the mill, when they're driving to the mill, that's when the body falls over in the car.
I think so, because it's a bit rough on the road.
Yeah, and Pepper rightfully screams. Mm-hmm. Also, there was when they go to the diner, Erin and Pepper go out to the outhouse so she can throw up more, and she opens it up and she's just like, I think we're just gonna throw up more if I go into this thing, if I stay out here. And then also we get the nasty but great practical effect ass pig head.
Oh god, it was disgusting, and the sound of the flies
gross.
all over it. I was like, oh, this is really well done, but I don't want to see this.
The best way I can put it is a lot of the grossest shit in this movie. Great, well done. I hate it so much.
It gets the job done.
It looks so gross.
It gets the job done.
So you kind of realize we're gonna find out later on which one's Morgan and which one's Andy, but it's the curly hair one is what I'll call him. Let's call him Curls.
That's Morgan.
He's the dick.
Right. He's supposed to be the antagonist of the film?
Not
in a sense.
Really. Because he's not really an antagonist. He's just more of... He's like the bearable version of... What's his name from the last movie?
The brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's also sitting in the same position as the brother in the car. So, obviously.
Yeah. Like, he's not as overly annoying.
Right.
I will say with this movie, at least, I like the characters more.
Me too.
And why I just don't get why they had to rename everybody in the movie.
Yeah, you're right.
Which is why I say this is not a remake. This is a retelling because there's like this is such a loose remake.
I agree.
Give this the remake.
If they did name the characters the same, I would say a remake. But you're definitely on the right track.
They even changed the Sawyers to the Hewitts.
Yeah. Right.
Also, I guess this would be a good fun fact for you. Because we're never gonna watch the next movie because it sucks ass.
The newest one?
No. Texas Chainsaw: The Beginning. It's a sequel to it's a prequel to the 2003 one.
No, thank you.
Sheriff Hoyt is the sheriff because I think, if I remember correctly, either he kills the sheriff or the sheriff dies and he takes his stuff.
I could have told you that. Yeah, that's
what happens.
That's exactly the sense I got of that for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, they go to the old mill. They meet Jedediah, who I will say, I remember I was like, oh, I remember correctly. The baby has the dumbest arc in this movie. No, it's Jedediah.
And you know who the kid is, right?
No.
He's the kid who's in the ring. It's the same actor.
The kid in the ring.
Yeah.
Who's the kid in the ring? Like what kid?
The kid. What's his name? Aiden?
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Samara. And I'm
No. The kid. The kid.
Yeah, the son.
The son. Thank you. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's that was like the year before this or the year after this.
Everyone's like career post this movie blew up. Which is why I will say this. This movie, I still think this is a perfectly fun and fine movie. I don't think it's trash. The only reason it's not trash is because of their cast.
I agree 100% with that.
It's like, it's your cast, it is your camera workers, it is your lighters. Whoever lit those scenes, oof, you did good. Mm-hmm. It's your set designers in general. Again, it's everything that's not the writers, because the writers suck in this movie. Yep. I hate the writing in this movie so much. But Aaron and Kemper decide that they're going to see if like someone's nearby. They're going to go to what's his name's house, the Hewitts' house. Aaron and Kemper go to the woods to find his house, leaving Morgan, Andy, and Pepper at the mill with Jedediah. They come across a plantation house, and Aaron is allowed inside by an amputee named Monty. His name's Monty? To call for help. Kemper goes inside to look for Aaron and is killed by Thomas Hewitt, who's also known as Leatherface, who hits him with a sledgehammer, which sprays blood on a nearby TV. Was that something that was in the opening credits?
I don't think so.
Okay. He then drags his body into the basement to make a new mask. All right. This at least we have stuff to break down now. This is probably home to the first disgusting shot of the movie. And I mean like sexually disgusting.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that. There's a few of those.
Let's talk about Monty full on grabbing Jessica Biel's ass.
And the camera work on that really got up in there, and I was like, this is disgusting. Yeah. I mean, again, it's produced by Michael Bay. It's also 2003. And I feel like I was most uncomfortable, not with the gore in this film, which is really bad to say, but the sexual innuendos and touching and just blatancy on screen, either verbally or visually, was extremely uncomfortable for me. I was sitting here and I was just watching it and shaking my head. I'm like, God, this is disgusting.
I feel like the most acceptable part, which is crazy because these two were riding each other, was Pepper and Andy at the beginning. That was like the most comfortable I felt.
Because that's consensual. That's fine. It's a bit much, but it's consensual. So it's like, okay, whatever, they can do whatever the hell they want. But everything else, not so much.
Do we get a Jessica Biel shot in this of like, kind of like how, what's her name was in the first movie? Where like she's outside the house and you get like Jessica Biel and then the house?
If we did, it didn't stand out to me.
I will say, though, love the house. The house is scary as shit.
I agree.
Like, from the outside, it looks spooky. Monty has a dog. That's what I remember the most.
That's great.
He has a dog. And then the dog is, like, fake growling the entire time.
Mm-hmm. It's like
he won't...
It's like ADR sounds over the dog. It's like the dog's definitely not doing anything.
Dog's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And then Monty doesn't let Kemper in.
Obviously, because he's a threat.
Yeah. But then Kemper sneaks in. That's how Kemper gets killed.
Right. And it's just like the first kill in the first movie. Real quick, Leatherface comes around, bop him on his head. He's twitching on the ground. And then he gets dragged and the door closes. That's exactly what happens in the first film, which I liked. I thought they did a good job.
The one thing I like about this movie is they didn't give all the characters the same kills.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't keep the kills attached to the characters from the first movie.
Right.
The same kills happened for like, the same iconic kills happened, but they switched who got them, which was good. I like that. I like that it wasn't like a formulaic one-for-one. This person has to get killed this way, and that person has to get killed that way.
I wasn't expecting them to actually do that. I wasn't expecting them to mirror the kills. I thought they were going to be completely different. And when they weren't at most parts, I was like, oh, that's actually well done, And
it's weird because this movie is the only one that really does that.
Really?
Like, when they go on to do, like, the Friday not the Friday, sorry. I think Friday sucks. A lot of people like the Friday one. But you probably think it sucks also because you hate Friday. Like
now I do.
But when they did the Nightmare remake, everybody got the same kills.
Wow.
And the one thing I didn't like about the New Nightmare was the New Nightmare was like a remake, not a retelling.
Right.
The only thing was they added a plot point from the third movie into it. That's not really... This is like a full retelling. This feels like it can stand on its own.
I enjoy that more than them attempting to do a remake, honestly.
You can't remake?
You can't. Something...
Because the original Texas Chainsaw is so smut film.
Yeah.
This was cinematic. The best way I could put this was this movie... The reason why this movie is not going to get me like the last movie is this is cinematic. I can tell they're on a controlled area. Everyone on that set is safe. I know everyone on that set is perfectly fine.
Right. It's budget that made a difference. Whether that's good or bad, it's really your personal preference.
If I remember correctly, this movie had like a $9 million budget.
Compared to what, the $60K that the original had?
Yeah. Here's the thing. This movie made like over $100 million. And I know it was between like a $3 and $9 million budget. So
damn, it did well.
Hence is why we got the remake craze because...
Right.
But also, how is it your lowest budgeted one is still your best one? It's the acting.
Yeah.
But also, can we talk about something real quick? He makes a new mask out of Kemper's face.
Yeah, we don't see it, right, until later.
Yeah, no, I just want to talk about, I didn't know that once there's a multiversal like Voldemort that turns into Leatherface. Because that guy took his mask off for a shot, and I was like, that's Voldemort.
Yeah. I was like, oh God,
Voldemort.
oh jeez, okay, put the face on, put the face back on.
I wasn't even like that. I paused. I was like, that is so stupid.
Yeah, and then they go to explain it later that it's a skin
defect?
disease or something like that. Yeah.
He's a poor sweet boy.
Poor sweet boy.
He just likes to chainsaw people.
He has his hobbies.
I mean, he does the wax, I believe. He doesn't he do like the kind of wax thing that what's his name does in House of Wax with his what's his name's face?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to that.
Or does he petroleum jelly the face? I know he uses some sort
It was
of
petroleum jelly to
thing
keep
on
it
the
soft.
face. Okay. Meanwhile, Hoyt arrives at the mill and disposes of the hitchhiker's body. After Erin discovers that Kemper is missing, she and Andy go back to Monty's house, and Erin distracts him. While Andy searches for Kemper, when Monty realizes that Andy is inside, he summons Leatherface, who attacks him with a chainsaw. This skips probably one of my favorite scenes. They're looking around, and Pepper picks up teeth, and she has like a mental breakdown.
She's like, yeah, that was fucking teeth.
Teeth? I remember you said she's annoying. I'm like, I don't think she's annoying. I just think she's way in over her head.
She's, again, to me it was annoying because she's over the top, but I wasn't annoyed to the point where I was like, oh, this is fake. This is just super over the top acting. It's a genuine reaction.
And then Erin and Andy decide, like, okay, let's go back to the house.
Also, they break our rule: don't split up the Scooby Gang.
Listen, when it comes to Leatherface, those rules don't.
I know.
They don't stand. Even though Morgan, fucking jackass, is like, let's just leave him.
Yeah, he's like, let's dip. Let's get that. But you know what? If they did, they'd still be alive.
I feel like Sheriff Hoyt would have pulled something. But also, the lead up to Leatherface. Hey, you don't see Leatherface until like the beginning of the second half of the movie.
Yep, I really like that choice.
His intro is actually kind of scary as shit.
It scared the crap out of me.
Because Monty's like banging on the floorboards, and then the door just slides open, and it is like I said last episode, I called him a mountain. This thing's a monster in this movie.
He's absolutely terrifying and just disgusting looking.
And I was just like, yep, you should run. And they run, and Andy tells Erin to get out.
He has his
he gets
tire
his leg
iron
chopped off.
Yeah, he has his tire iron, and he's like, holding the chainsaw back. Erin goes. Andy gets away, and then when he's running through the sheets, he gets his leg, yeep.
I will say, I didn't think Leatherface running through sheets would be that scary. Seeing a man that big running through sheets is petrifying.
At, like, full-blown speed, yeah.
Even then, I don't think he was at full-blown speed yet. I don't think he goes full-blown speed until Erin.
And also, for me, the camera work and the editing were doing some crazy shit here that I did not like.
Oh yeah, you mean jump cutting?
Yeah, the jump cutting for the editing and the hand cam while they're running, which I understand, but I think together with the erratic editing was a little too much for me. A little. Ugh.
Also, one thing I saw, which I'm gonna be a picky little bitch, right, real quick. The point in which Leatherface cuts into his leg is a lot lower than where it ends up being in the final removal.
It was very noticeable for me.
He cuts him off at the shin.
Yeah.
And like they're like, oh no, he cut him above the knee, and I was like, bitch, how?
I was like, when did that happen? Did he take another chop? I don't know.
I think we go into probably one of my favorite shots right now. Erin escapes and heads towards the woods, but Leatherface hacks off Andy's left leg with a chainsaw. He then carries the horrified and begging Andy to the basement, where he impales him on a sharp meat hook before rubbing salt on his stump of a leg. Afterwards, he wraps it with butcher paper and ties it with human hair. So, Erin running through the woods, and they put like atmospheric fog into the woods, so the light was just hitting in these very nice, beautiful ways.
It was really good.
This entire shot everything was dumb, but damn, the time of day you got this, made everything look better.
Oh yeah, for sure, I agree.
I also like how Andy tells Erin to run, and then when he's getting dragged in, he screams for Erin.
Yeah.
It's like he understands what's going on now.
Yeah. Again, these are real reactions, or at least, it feels real. Obviously, they're acting.
Also, grossest part of the movie for me, he gets his nails taken off.
Yeah, I think this entire scene, because I was watching it, my mom was like, "Oh, you're watching a movie." I'm like, "Yeah, you can watch it." And we were watching it, and after this, when he gets put on the hook and then his nails and everything, she's like, "Okay, I'm done. I can't continue this." So I was like, you know what? Understandable.
It is so... I don't like fingernails getting torn off. That is one of the grossest things to me.
It's fine with
So
me for
gross.
someone who's kind of queasy usually, because I think they use wax. I think I know that little fun fact is that they use wax. I'm like, oh, look at that. It's really cool. Good job.
I think... So you remember how, like, in the first movie, he puts what's-her-name on the hook?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's just... It happened. Like, he puts her on the hook and shit happens. This one, it was so cinematic. It's like, it's down the stairs, the lighting, so moody. We're gonna hook him above a piano. Which I don't get the piano.
Like, why? Why?
I will say, terrifying work center.
Oh, yes.
Very scary. I like that we got to see his workstation in this movie, unlike the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, damn, this is so cinematic. Like, they were like, this is the iconic scene from the first movie. We gotta put our... 8 million of our budget has to go right here. But Erin makes it back to the mill before she and the others can leave. Hoyt shows up after finding the weed on the dashboard. He orders Erin and Pepper to get out of the van, gives Morgan the gun he took from the hitchhiker, and tells him to reenact how she killed herself. Morgan, disturbed by his demands, attempts to shoot him, but the gun is unloaded.
That pretty much sums it up. I do want to say...
This is the I smell bullshit line.
The Jessica Biel's acting when she comes back and she is freaking out and she can't talk to anybody. She's just trying to start the car. And then the moment of relief when the cop comes over and she's like, "Oh, thank God." At a drop of a hat, it was so good. This is when I got really, really impressed with her. I was like, wow, why don't you do more horror movies? It's like, she's really good.
I think there's that fear of you get latched into horror.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Lee Curtis, she had to literally retire from horror for like how many years for her to kind of get, a career that's known to be outside of horror.
Yeah, I get it. But she's just so good.
I mean, even Neve Campbell.
Yeah, very true.
Like, the last movie I remember her being in before Scream was she was in that skyscraper movie with The Rock.
Oh, God.
She was his wife.
I remember that.
She was the wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
And when I was watching a movie, when I was watching a movie at a film festival, it was a movie about trying to get a movie made. They attached her name to it, and people were like a little hesitant. If I remember correctly, they were hesitant to give them the budget because she was too like typecasted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, she is a little. Like, I get why Jessica Biel did not want to go into it after this, but this is the moment she turns into the hitchhiker.
Oh, yes.
Personality.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand.
She's like beyond the point of talking reasoning too. It's just, I gotta get out of here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And basically, what this movie is just, when the hitchhiker kills herself at the beginning, she is the most empathetic towards the hitchhiker. When earlier in the movie, they have a vote to just throw the hitchhiker out, she's the one that's like, well, her and Pepper, but
mostly Erin.
She's kind of the one that has the strongest opinion that we're not doing this.
She has family, people care about her, you can't just throw her like she's trash, she says.
Yeah. And basically, her journey is becoming the hitchhiker.
Yeah.
This entire movie is her becoming the hitchhiker, to the point where she pulls the same shit at the end.
Because it's a cycle.
As the hitchhiker.
It's a cycle, yeah.
And then she gets in an odd way at the end, I think she gets her form of justice for the hitchhiker.
I agree.
But this scene is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
This scene, also, dude from Full Metal Jacket carries this movie because he's just like, he's scary.
I hate him, and that means he did a great job.
I also think Pepper's like in a pool of her own vomit.
I think so at one point, yeah.
Yeah, it's so disgusting.
Yeah, and then the talking. I don't know if it happened here. No, it happened earlier when the sheriff is talking about like the hitchhiker's body and saying very blatant sexual things about her corpse. Again, one of the most disgusting parts of this film for me.
You know, that wasn't as disgusting as another scene that happened, a shot that happened in that scene. It was when he smells the gun.
Yes, mm-hmm.
That was the disgusting part for me. I was like, ugh! Yep. And I was like, and then he had a look on his face. I'm like, ugh, and he knows where it was too. I actually do just think the funniest thing about that scene, in a sense, was she was just like, he goes up to Pepper and he's like, I respect a dead body just as much as you. I'm the sheriff.
Oh yeah.
What are you doing putting that in the backseat? Put it in the trunk.
Yeah.
I when the movie hits comedy, it does it. When it's done right, it's done right. It's just a lot of the comedy in this movie is done very wrong. But yeah, I didn't like the whole Morgan and Sheriff Hoyt scene.
It's this whole plot with the sheriff. To me, there was two plots in this film. There was the sheriff in the van and the body, and then there's everything that's happening in the house. The whole part with the sheriff, I wanted.
And then the C plot's the baby.
Right, I wanted it gone. I didn't need this.
And then the D plot's Jedediah.
Yeah, I didn't need this. I don't. It was a waste of time for me. Yeah, I could have very well done without it.
I think it was just like they were just like, we really need a plot for this movie. What's the plot? Dead body?
That's it.
Let's go with that. Hoyt then handcuffs Morgan and drives him back to the Hewitt house, taking the van's key with him. Back in the house, Andy awakens from passing out from the pain and desperately tries to lift himself off the meat hook, but Leatherface has booby-trapped it, causing him to impale himself further on the hook. I think this is the shot where Morgan gets like blasted with a bottle, like a glass bottle.
Yeah, I think so.
And does he lose his teeth?
I want to say yes because the sheriff takes out his teeth and he's like, "We're matching now." Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
I will say this is the point in the movie. From this point up until the final chase scene with him and Aaron, I don't give a shit.
Same. I can give
I
two
don't care.
shits.
I probably, if I had to watch this movie again, I would skip the next probably 30 minutes of this movie.
I was bored. I was like, I'm on my phone. I was like, oh, glancing.
Same. I ended up being on my phone. Aaron and Pepper are tracked down by Leatherface, who is wearing Kemper's face as a mask, and when Pepper attempts to run, she is killed by Leatherface, who cuts her in half. This scene is a beautiful nightmare. It's so beautiful. Because he chainsaws Pepper, and she has a fluffy jacket on, so feathers are just flying everywhere. And then the headlights are on him, and you get the shot, and it's slow motion done right, which is good. I like slow motion done right. And it's just him turning around with, feathers in the air.
Slow-mo.
Floating.
Mm-hmm.
And Kemper's face. But it's not you can tell he didn't have enough time to really make the full mask out of it. It was just kind of something he can latch over his face. And the only thing I can remember being the truly scary thing wasn't the face, it was the eyes.
The look. Yes. He's looking up towards Aaron, and with the lighting, it's very sinister.
I was like, God, this just... The fact that it wasn't stuck to his face, I like it because it kind of gave a dimension. That,
right.
It was the eyes were kind of behind the eye holes. It was scary as shit.
Oh, for sure.
Aaron runs and hides in a nearby trailer belonging to a middle-aged woman who's known only as the Tea Lady. Good, because that's all I know her as. She's the Tea Lady. and a young woman named Henrietta, who gives her a tea that has been drugged. This scene is so fucking stupid.
I could, again, be without this part. Don't need it in my life.
I was like, you couldn't have just, like, I don't know, have the grandmother have the baby, and then, you know, like, Leatherface could have knocked her out or something. I don't know. There's just something that did not have to get these two.
Oh, no.
Into the
Not
movie.
at all.
Erin discovers they have kidnapped the hitchhiker's baby, but passes out before she can escape. Erin wakes up at the Hewitt house, surrounded by the entire family: Leatherface, his mother, Luda, Hoyt, Monty, and Jedediah.
And this is this film's version of the family.
But the thing is, Jedediah's not in the house, because, like, Luda is like, don't get in the house, and you learn how to follow the rules,
Yeah.
which means, I guess, it's just kill people.
He doesn't like the killing, yeah.
Luda explains to Erin that Leatherface was tormented his whole life because of a skin disease that left his face disfigured, and she felt that no one cared for her family besides themselves. I forgot. In the trailer, they were like, oh, that poor sweet boy knows not to come here. And if I was Jessica Biel, I'd be like, I'm getting the fuck out.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're in leagues with him? Great, now I gotta run.
Not even that they're in leagues with him. If you know who he is, you're like, he's so nice.
Just, he has his little hobbies. He has to keep himself
He's misunderstood.
busy. He doesn't have friends.
Fuck that. No. Fuck all of that shit. No, I'm out. I'm done. And you probably wouldn't have been drugged, because you would have got out before she, like, jammed a cup of tea in your face.
Yeah.
Also, this is my least favorite shot in the movie. It's disgusting in every way possible. It's Hoyt in his underwear with Jessica Biel between his legs.
Yeah, it was really bad. Again, with the sexual shit.
Gross.
I hate it.
If I remember correctly, I was very, 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 very happy when Leatherface throws her into the basement because she got out of there.
Same. I was like, this is the best place you could be right now.
She finds Andy and kills him to end his suffering after failing to help him off the meat hook. Afterwards, she finds Morgan handcuffed in the bathtub.
The Andy scene seemed overdramatic for me. And then all of a sudden, she just stabbed him in the gut. But for whatever reason, she is just immediately drenched in blood.
Drenched in blood?
Like, she just came out of the bath or like, in Hostel. Was it Hostel or The Descent? I think it's The Descent.
I looked away for a second.
And then she was just, like, red.
And I was like, did I miss something? So I had to rewind the movie.
I did the exact same thing.
And I was like,
Wait.
why is she... She was like, she was sweaty one shot ago, and then they just cut the shot, and she is drenched.
Yeah.
Her sweat became blood.
And then...
Her sweat literally turned into blood.
And then the next scenes later on, she's not drenched in blood anymore. I'm like, what's the point of this?
If I had to take a guess, MPAA was like, she can't be bloody the entire movie.
I guess, but maybe it's like, oh, symbolic that she has his blood on her hands because she killed him, blah, blah, blah.
And then when she walks over to the bathtub, it's washed off.
It's just magically gone.
It's gone. What is Morgan's deal right now? Because he's limp? He can't talk?
He got the shit beat out of him by the sheriff, like, really bad outside.
Which means he can't talk.
Well, and he's limp, because he got the shit beat out of him.
Oh, right.
And then, before that, he got the bottle to the mouth.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Jedediah, who does not agree with his family's action, leads them out of the house and distracts Leatherface long enough for them to escape. Erin and Morgan find an abandoned shack in the woods and barricade themselves inside. This is probably the funniest chase scene, because it's like Leatherface being like, fuck, I gotta go into the crawl space.
But
God, it's so tiny.
in the crawl space, when they're running, there's a scene where I think Erin stands up and the noir type lighting over her eyes
Yes.
is very well done.
I mean, the lighting in the crawl space was very nice. I'll give him that. It's just this is the also by the way, this is the last time we see Jedediah. He just gets like thrown onto a sack of potatoes and that's
Yeah,
it.
and I'm like, oh, okay, there goes the kid. Whatever.
That is the D plot of this movie.
Yeah. Just completely forgettable.
Literally, they're like, why is Jedediah there? He leads them into a crawl space. That is his plot. That's his point for this entire movie.
Yeah.
Is just he is there to lead them into a crawl space. That's it. Leatherface breaks in and discovers Aaron, but Morgan attacks Leatherface, who hangs him from a chandelier by his handcuffs and cuts him through his groin with the chainsaw. Aaron escapes into the woods with Leatherface in tow. She finds a slaughterhouse and attacks Leatherface with a meat cleaver, chopping off his right arm. We just went through probably the best part of the movie in one sentence.
And
it's great. Now we get to talk about it.
We skipped Morgan's death?
No, Morgan gets chainsawed through the groin.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was great. That was really good.
Yeah.
He just gets lifted since his hands are still tied. Leatherface is like, okay, you go here. And then, whoop, from
and
groin
then I
to
chainsaw
chest. Yep.
We then get the chase scene where this man is a speeding bullet.
Yeah. Terrifying.
The only reason she gets away is because there's a barbed wire fence. She gets through it. He trips and chainsaws his leg.
Yeah, and it looked pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it was nasty.
And him wailing in pain. I was like, oh wow, nice.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of him screaming at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
We then get to this is the scene I was talking about where she gets to the meat factory, and it's a behind the scenes shot of her, and she just looks like a truck of a human being. I was like, are you sure you don't want to fist fight him? Because,
you could take him, girl.
I think you could take him. I think you could take him on this. If I had to put my money on somebody, I wouldn't not put my money on him.
Yeah. But I don't understand. He just chainsawed his leg. How the hell did he get to the meat factory?
I'm not going to lie. That scene scared the shit out of
How
me.
the hell did he get there?
Because something got edited out.
Okay. Yeah, it had to be.
There had to be. Because literally, she's running and shit. And you're like, okay, she's safe. And then out of nowhere, he just grabs her.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
I'll admit, it got me because I was not expecting him to be
Same.
there. And then she runs into the meat room. Oof.
Yep.
That room. And she hides between a cart. Just And he starts moving stuff around and girl, she starts screaming anytime meat touches her.
I get it. She's on edge. She's on alert. Anything that's touching her, she thinks it's gonna be him.
And then he magically just appears at the area she's at.
Yeah.
She screams twice, and he's just kind of there magically. It's weird. But we get that she gets away from him. And then he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn on the sprinklers so your titties are now really out.
Again, produced by Michael Bay.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, here's the thing. For how obnoxious they could have made her shirt. Because the thing was, I did a nip search. Only for the sense of, I want to see how obnoxious they make this.
Again.
And I will say it. There was not a lot.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse. Which is saying something.
Because I can guarantee the amount of money she did not have a bra on.
Oh, no. But.
So the fact that that they didn't wet her up so much that it suctioned to her chest.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Do I think him turning on the sprinklers was stupid? Yes. It makes no sense why he would turn on the sprinklers. This was the producers being like, oh, well, lady with boobs.
Yeah.
We make sure it's thick and then, the teenagers get happy. Because, that's how it works. But it's only for a few seconds. And I will admit, the one good thing this movie does is by this time, the knot of her shirt that she's had, the way she knotted her shirt for the entire movie has now turned into a full shirt because the knot's undone.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Good job. Because at least you weren't yeah, her belly would be out this entire movie. It's like, no, at some point that knot gets undone. She hides in a locker. And we also, like, right before this happens, we get a lot of, like, close-up zoom smash cuts to different pigs.
Yeah, just to get that, meat sense, like, oh, she's a piece of meat, blah, blah, blah. Very on the nose.
I will say she was smart. She did it smart.
Oh, yeah.
Because she did the possum from before.
Mm-hmm.
Early in the movie, when they were going to Jedediah, when they find Jedediah, they go to a locker and they open it, and it's like a pissed off possum.
Yeah, ravenous possum.
And I actually think they weren't acting when that happened. I actually think they were all laughing.
Yeah.
But she pulls that trick. What she does is Leatherface is walking out, and like I said, she could take him. She screams for him to come back.
Yeah, she's like, "Get back here. Get back here. We're going to finish this."
And she puts a pig on the locker across from her. He lets off the chainsaw and opens it up. It's a pig. I will give him credit. He knew what was going on the minute he saw that pig.
Yep.
He was like, she's behind me. I don't know how she cut off his arm.
That's my note. I said, do not believe her hacking off his arm with that goddamn knife. That was not believable. She's like, hack, hack, hack. Like, maybe 3 or 4 times.
It was 4 hacks. It was 4.
And I was like, no, that wouldn't happen. I'm sorry. I can take a lot, but that's not going to happen.
I would have understood it more if she hacked him, he fell with his chainsaw, and the chainsaw got his arm.
100%. That's what I was expecting.
I will say, though, this next scene was so fucking funny.
Oh, when he's freaking out.
It was him trying to catch the chainsaw, and he's like, I can't grab it. It keeps spinning.
And then the blood is being spun around on the floor.
And then he catches it, and he's like, dead arm, get off. Get off my chainsaw.
Yeah.
Get up. He's like shaking it and banging it just to get his arm off the chainsaw.
Furious. Obviously in pain, but he was pissed off.
And screaming. He was screaming this entire time.
I mean, understandably.
And he gets the chainsaw, and I think, doesn't he fall over?
I don't know.
Because he's just like falls over in pain, understandably so. And then we get, I will say, after this scene, I was in.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I was like,
oh, I'm back. I'm back in. Hi, hello.
Shit just hit 100. Everything is insane right now. And then, like, it's the end of the movie 3 minutes later.
Yeah.
It feels like.
I was like, what happened?
She walks out to your favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, it is.
And he picks her up. Which I was shocked Leatherface didn't show up in that moment. Considering, he got his leg chopped and he magically appeared at the meat factory. He is driving towards the gas station, and she goes full hitchhiker.
She's like, we can't do this. And she's freaking out, trying to grab the wheel, understandably. The truck driver's like, what the hell's going on? Of course, he doesn't understand.
I have a question. Is he dead?
Yes. I'm going to say that now. Yeah.
They get to the gas station from before. Dude goes inside, truck driver. And you have Luda, Hoyt, and T-Chick with the baby. And he's like, hey, there's a woman in my truck, picked her up. And Luda is like, hey, Hoyt, found her.
Go check it out.
And we get such a good tense scene because they don't let you know that she's not in the truck.
I knew she wasn't in the truck.
But here's the thing. They don't give you enough framing in the shots to determine what car she's in.
That's true. I didn't know what car she was in. I knew she was in one of them. I didn't know what one.
Because it was her head.
Yeah. And
enough of because she was hot wiring.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a random fact about her. She knew how to hotwire cars.
Yeah, and she could pick locks because of her brother. I don't know if she knew how to hotwire because Kemper was a mechanic. Maybe she picked up a thing or two from him.
And we know she can hotwire because she hotwired before.
When?
In the movie. When her and Pepper are in the car, she hotwires the car.
You're right, thank you.
And then they crash it,
You're right.
Unfortunately. But That's also probably one of the funnier scenes because she's like, Pepper, I need you to hold the flashlight still,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
And she's like, I can do it, and like,
It's not happening.
cuts right back to Pepper. It's just like, shake, 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 shake. But T-Girl goes back inside. She's like, my baby's gone, which now we know what's going on. And Hoyt opens up the truck. She's not in there. She is in his car.
The sheriff car.
Yeah. Runs him over, backs up, runs him back over, kills him. Thank God.
And another great shot here, besides the awesome double tap, fantastic, the windshield has blood all over it. And she just wipes that blood off in her face. She's just like, I got you, you motherfucker. You know?
Oh, this was her just being like, I'm getting out of here, and I'm making sure you can't do shit.
Yep.
She's starting to drive away, and we get one last jump scare, and
It got me.
Leatherface chainsaws the car.
It got me. Yep.
Because in all intents and purposes, this is the moment where she's safe. She's in a car. She got the baby. She's, like, avenged the hitchhiker from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like, even though she died, she still kind of got... She made sure the hitchhiker got the win in the end because they got the baby. Right. And then he just rips into the car.
And when she's going away, that shot of him looking up down the road at her, absolutely fuming with rage, was such a good shot. It was such a good shot.
And also, I like that they did an homage to the chainsaw dance because he scraps the car, and as he's doing it, like the amount of torque and momentum he moved his arm at causes him to do the little twirl. Right. But right when the twirl's done, just stares at the camera and it's just like, she got away. Yeah. And I'll let you know right now, I watched the new movie after. It sucked, by the way. Just gonna let you know on that one. But the whole thing is when Sally goes to fight him, which I'm gonna let you know. Are you ever gonna watch the movie?
Probably, but I don't care.
She gets killed.
Ah, son of a bitch. Okay.
He puts her on a chainsaw and lifts her up into the air, and then just like spews her guts out.
Oh, that's not good.
She's so unlikable in this movie.
Okay.
But what I was gonna say was when she finds him, he doesn't remember her.
Really?
Because that's how inconsequential she is.
She was just another piece of meat.
You were just someone who got away. I feel like in this movie, it would be different if they made a sequel, because he would remember Erin. Yeah. He's like, you took my arm, you cut my leg. Father, you cut my leg. But also, I understand why this movie couldn't get a sequel. What do you do with, like, a semi-legless and full-on armless Leatherface? Right.
Not much.
There's not much you could do with this guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, we get the final scene of the movie is we go back to the recording of the police officers at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And they get attacked. If I remember correctly, I'm not sure if they get killed because they said fatally wounded.
Fatally wounded, fatal means killed.
Okay, because I've heard fatally wounded, and it just means they could die.
I think it means that they died from their injuries.
Okay. And we get, of all the things in this movie that scared me, or it's kind of like the thing of, it's not scary in a sense of a jump scare, but it's just, it sticks with you. Mm-hmm. And it's like the only shot we got of Thomas Hewitt is this. And they do like the 3 frame stills, and the final one's just his face lunging at the camera. It's like kind of blurry.
It's distorted, yeah.
Whew, that is not. Also, that face was the movie poster for when it was coming out.
Awesome.
That is a scary scene, like shot to end on. It's like,
yeah.
Oh God. But that's how the movie ends. Yep. It's a good, fun romp. That's the best way I can put it.
For me, it's a great trashy horror film that I would watch in middle school with my friends at like midnight.
Exactly. You know? If you have a group of friends and you just want to watch a horror movie and make fun of it, this is the movie.
Absolutely.
This is one of those movies. If you want to sit there for 98 minutes and watch a movie and be like drawn into it, you're not going to get it with this movie. But are you ready for this movie roundup, which I feel like is not gonna be very long?
No. Yeah, let's get to the roundup.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's get to this roundup. I'm gonna start off with it's not a bad remake, but I like what you said earlier. It's a retelling, not a remake. It's definitely your typical early 2000s horror movie. You can see that in the camera work, the lighting, the fast-paced jump cut editing. Kind of ages it for me, or at least keeps it in its time period. And I definitely did not believe this took place in 1973. I don't care what they were telling me. Didn't like the two plots of the film, the sheriff and then the house and what was going on. Felt completely unnecessary. Like I said, I got bored during the second half until the end. But the acting was very, very well done by the Scooby Gang in this one. Obviously, we talked about it at length that these guys have an acting career after this. Overall, the original is still my favorite because of its simplicity and the cinematography. But this one did a really good job. Definitely seen worse remakes than this. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
What did you give the last movie?
I don't know. Don't ever ask me this.
Was it like an 8?
Sure.
I feel like every time we do this episode, we have to quickly go back, rewatch our stuff
previous,
real quick.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with you on almost all of this. I think the one thing that's different for me, and it was one thing I was like, okay, I have to remember this when going into this movie. This was my first Texas Chainsaw. I saw this when I was 13. This was like years after it had come out. So, so I hold it in a special place for that reason. So I went into this movie being like, I can't let nostalgia take over, because if it does, I'll probably gush over this movie.
Right.
Not as good as I remember. This movie... I have a question. You gave this movie 6.5. Mm-hmm. If this movie did not have its cast, what would you have given it?
Oh, like a 4, maybe on a good day.
I was gonna say 4 is nice. I would have given this like a 2.
Yeah,
with the cast.
Yeah. That's on a good day.
I will admit this is not a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is decent at best.
That's why 6.
Like it just hits mediocre.
Yeah,
it's just mediocre.
It's a little past mediocre because of the acting, for me.
Oh, yeah. But I will say, you can still heavily enjoy mediocre. I love this movie. I enjoy mediocre.
There's nothing wrong with
I have a lot of fun.
There's nothing wrong with mediocre movies. That's what people seem to be having a problem with. They're like, if it's not the best movie I've ever seen ever, it's trash. And no, you can have fun with normal type of movies.
That, and also this movie made money.
Yeah.
For its budget compared to what it got, it made money. A lot of people I feel like a lot of people probably hate this movie because it began the remake trend of the 2000s.
I can understand that.
But I'm like, it's not this movie's fault, because this movie did it right.
Yep.
When you go back and look at like When a Stranger Calls, One Missed Call, Prom Night, all those movies are shitty because they were just cash grabs. I actually felt like the people making this movie cared.
Yes, you could tell.
Like, yeah, were the plots jumbled? 100%. But the fact that they wanted to write that many plots, I'm like, okay, you at least had people who cared because they wanted to add like a world into this area, into this movie. It's like it had world building. Everything kind of felt cohesive in a sense. This movie had so much post processing.
Yeah.
To make things like brown and yellow.
Again, 2003.
I know, but this was like obnoxious. There were shots where I was like, this shit is... You put a yellow filter. You put like a sepia tone over this, it looked like. If I had to rank this, I think I rated the last movie, 6.5 or 7. I think I did 6.5. This movie is a 5 to me. If you told me like if you ask me, like, you know, as a whole, I give it a 5. As in, would I watch this again? 100%. But I would need to be drunk.
Yeah.
I would need to be with a group of friends, maybe.
Having a good time.
This is one of those movies where you just watch it and you have fun. And I think with a group of friends, this movie's like an 8.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that.
Alone, it's a 4. With friends, it's an 8.
Yeah.
You need people around you. If they re-aired this in movie theaters and like the movie theater was somewhat filled up, I would go and see it.
It would be such a good time.
I will also give credit, because one thing we have not given credit to yet, Leatherface's mask in this movie is scary.
It's so good. The other one was more comical. Again, budget reasons and yada yada yada.
Exactly.
This one was very, very good. Really well done.
His costume in general is really good in this movie too.
Yeah, I agree.
I will say I like everything about the other movie in the sense of camera work and style and, you know, all that stuff more. I like Leatherface in this movie more.
I'm on the same boat with that.
But besides that, that's all I really have for it. Like, it's fine. That's the best I can put it is. It's fine. If we watched it, if this was one of those movies where we decided that we were going to watch it together, probably would have had more of a fun time watching the movie.
I agree, yeah.
It probably would have been like a My Bloody Valentine.
Yes.
But we didn't, so I kind of have to go off what I got. According to the season ranking, this is probably going to be the mid movie. Like, if you were better than this movie, I liked you. If you were worse than this movie, I didn't like you for the season. This is like the bar that you have to hit for me. But, you know, it's good though. I'm not going to have a hard time making a haunt because this has a lot of good sets designed.
I always have a hard time making a haunt, so let's just...
I'm just going to let you know, you're going to put the meat room in. The meat room is always going to be in.
Yeah. But...
All right, you ready?
Yeah, let's get started.
Let's do it. All right, Paige, it's time to build a haunt. Now, usually I'm like, let's see if you go first, because you usually have, like, the idea. You gotta go first because mine is so elaborate.
Oh.
It's gonna take, like, 5 minutes to get through.
Okay. Here we go. All right. So we enter a dark hallway, so it's immediately dark, with the audio of the hitchhiker saying, "I just want to go home," and then she continuously just building up to saying, "Don't take me back there." It flashes the sign of the old mill, flashes off, and then we hear a bang of a gunshot. So things start to speed up. We drive through the entrance of the plantation home and past the room where Leatherface is dragging Kemper's body, and then he just slams the door. So it's supposed to be a little bit of a jump scare. We go down into the basement where Andy is hanging on the hook over the piano, and he's yelling for us to get out. We rush into the connecting building, which would be the slaughterhouse, through the meat hanging from the hooks. As we're going through that, kind of a little bit of a weave here and there, we stop as Leatherface walks by with his chainsaw, and he doesn't see us at first until there's an oink from a pig near us, and he turns around and then starts chasing us. We escape from the horrors, but not without the sound of him grunting and metal on metal of him hitting the back of our cart with his chainsaw as we drive away.
All right. So, I'm just going to give you a fair warning now. You just did yours in, okay, that hurt me like 20 seconds, so like a minute. It took you a minute to get through yours.
Mine are like pitches.
I just want to let you know, my thing is 14 rooms.
Jesus Christ.
I didn't think it. I just went like full the stream of thought onto here, and I was like, oh, it actually works. Let's go.
Okay.
This may actually be the first. This is the first time. Moving on history. We're pretty different from each other.
Good. I'm excited. All right, go.
First time it took a shitty 2003 like Texas Chainsaw movie for us to stray apart. Okay, We begin. We are at the gas station exterior, and we hear the group talking to Miss Luda on the inside. And we go past the van with the body of the dead hitchhiker, just with the door open. We just see her go right past her. Next room, we are at the exterior of the Hewitt Manor because that place is so beautiful that even just getting a little bit of the exterior is nice. We're not gonna be like in the open field, but just entering the manor. We go inside the manor and we hear a bang upon entering. And as we continue out of the corner, we see something being dragged, and all we see is feet just getting dragged. Room 3 is a somewhat exterior shot because it's not. You can make it non-exterior is the best way I can put it. Is we are going through the sheets.
I wanted to put that
outside.
in there. I wanted to put that in there. Yeah.
But instead of him attacking us, all you see is is the silhouette of Leatherface stalking you through the sheets, and the cart speeds up a little bit and goes through the woods. It's now nighttime, and you're at the mill, and with the aftermath of Pepper's death, and we get our introduction to Leatherface as he looks at us through the car headlights, and we see him wearing Kemper's face. We start running, or we speed up, and we now go back to the Hewitt residence, but it's at nighttime because the strobe lights of the Hewitt residence at night was beautiful. And we run, and we go into like Leatherface's special area. And I call it the Leather Cave. In the Leather Cave, we see Morgan hanging, and we hear Leatherface making a beeline to us. Next room, we're officially in the crawl spaces, but instead of us chasing through the crawl spaces, his chainsaw starts chainsawing through the crawl spaces, so it's like trying to get at you. We eventually get out, and we make it to the house where we see Morgan hanging from the chandelier. And Leatherface, instead of him running at us, chainsaws from underneath. And then we get to the meat factory. We hear some chainsaw. We're at the entrance of the meat factory going inside, and we hear the chainsaw just roaring from behind us. We're in the meat room, and this is our second Leatherface scare. He appears from behind the meat and lunges at you. You continue forward, and you run into the locker room, and the pig jumps out, and then he jumps from the other side as like a scare. And the ending, which is the same, it's us in the rain speeding forward, and Leatherface, instead of hitting the back, I had it so he jumps out and does like the side of your cart.
Gotcha.
And just rails it.
Okay. Cohesive story. Nice.
Yep. And you hear him screaming at the end.
Nice.
My whole thing was, I'm not putting the family in. I'm not putting B, C, or D plots in here. It can't work. Yeah, I mean, this was a lot harder because I had to cherry pick where in the movie I'm allowed to go.
Yeah.
And if you paid attention to how like I laid it out, it's all the final like 30 minutes is most of his house. Because the movie decides for like 45 minutes to 50 minutes they want to focus on the family, which is so stupid. But I will say though, I want to add your room for the 15th room.
Which room?
I want to add your beginning room. I really like your beginning
room.
I really like it. I like starting in black, hearing it, gunshot, then getting to the gas station.
Yeah.
Hearing them talk. So
it's continuous, yeah.
Instead of it being like, oh, you see the mill, you get the gunshot, and then you hear everyone start screaming.
I like that.
And then you get into the gas station, you hear them talking, you go past and you see the hitchhiker. Then that starts the house. Then I will say we are pretty similar. I just think I added more.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna put the sheets in, but I was like, oh, it's exterior. I thought in my head while I was saying it, I was like, she may have been discouraged because it's an
That's
exterior
100%
shot.
the reason. I was like, oh, it's exterior. He tells me not to put exterior, so I didn't put it in.
I was like, I feel like you can, because you can make a quote unquote woods shot in a small room because you just put trees.
Yeah.
I was like, well, technically, this would be a controlled exterior shot because it's just
sheets.
The sheets area.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you were like a full on driving sequence, I'm like, and that's a highway, and we don't do that. But yeah, I feel like this house it was easy to put together because you had to cherry pick only the Leatherface moments, which means you were contained to a very select few.
Which was
moments.
Good, yeah. No, I liked this one. This one was pretty cohesive.
Yeah. It's odd. The original house we did for Chainsaw, the first one, the last episode, it's a lot more raw. This one's a lot more cinematic. It's like we literally followed the movies perfectly.
I was just going to say, that's exactly how those movies are.
It's just, there's no way you couldn't make this cinematic. It's too
clean.
The movie's too cinematic.
It's too clean, yeah.
But now with our house done, it is time for the infamous closing, which just means we ramble for a few minutes.
Okay.
However, this is it. This is our final, non-franchise episode of the season.
Yes, because surprise, surprise, everybody. RJ, what's our next series?
5 episodes of Scream.
Heck yeah, let's go.
Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, Gail Weathers.
Spoiler alert, everybody. We love Scream because it's fun, it's crazy, it's a good time. Another thing, just like this movie, honestly, and it's kind of with the time period, they're great movies to watch with friends. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch them together.
I remember. Okay, so we haven't seen Scream, the original Scream in a year and a half, and it was because Cinemark did the free first 10,000 people to book a private screening can see a movie for free on Halloween. I ended up getting that. I ended up getting it booked, and we saw Scream on Halloween.
It was so fun. It was me, you, and another friend, and that's it in the theater. It was so fun.
That was it. It was so nice. And also, it was really cool to see Scream in theaters.
Yeah.
That was something that was something I didn't think I ever get to do because we saw Nightmare together in theaters.
And that was the first time I saw Nightmare, so to be able to experience it in theaters was the best thing.
That was your first time seeing Nightmare? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great way to experience it.
So,
but
yeah.
You remember how so basically, if anyone has been keeping up with us since the beginning, Paige had to beg me to stop the Friday franchise, which I originally was like no, and then we got the Friday Part 4, and I was like, screw it,
we're done.
We're done. I can't go past Part 4. This is so bad. I am not gonna have any problem going to the next 5 episodes.
Me neither. I'm really excited.
We're gonna start with Scream 1. Yep. Scream 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we're gonna have our season finale. We're gonna have a bunch of ranking our movies, discussing everything. We're gonna do an ultimate haunt for Scream, where we build everything based off the 5 films, like a super haunt. And then we do, it's gonna be 10 weeks, but after those, we do our mini season of Home Invasions.
Yeah. So please join us for our Scream series. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I have a question about Scream. Who do we fanboy and girl over more, Sydney or Gail? Because I think I'm gonna just be a Gail.
Oh, fantastic! Because I'm all Sydney.
I was just I was watching. I think I watched it a few months ago, and I was just like, I want to be Gail Weathers.
Well, remember,
that's all I want to be in life.
Remember when we went to go see it in theaters? I dressed up as Sydney for Halloween. So.
And this Halloween, we're gonna
do it again.
We've planned. You're doing Sydney again, and I'm doing Gail.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be great.
Which means you have to get a leather jacket because that's Sydney's thing is the leather jacket.
True.
But I'm very excited. next 5 episodes are going to be a little bit long, probably. Because we're probably going to go really into them.
But thank you for...
It'll be a good time, regardless.
Yeah, thank you for joining us for this one. And we hope you stick around.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Five innocent people killed. Not a sign of a human.